Okay, I'm going to show you how to do some linear regressions in Excel. We're using data set from the Congressional Budget Office from 1979 to 2013, and it's average before tax income. And this income is broken into 5 quintiles. So if you sort the income from top to bottom and then split off 0 through 20% of it and the next 20%, etc. So this is the 5 quintiles, and we're going to do a linear regression with this. So, and while I'm doing this, I'm also going to show you a couple hot stroke keystrokes that'll help you and make your life a lot easier. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take the first 4 quintiles, which I'll explain why we're using only on the first four for this first part in a second. So I can click on the label here, quintile 1, and click over here to the fourth quintile. And if I'm holding down the shift key, so go back, click here, hold down the shift key, and click, and then that will actually highlight all those. And then if I hold down shift and control and hit the down arrow on the keyboard, it actually gets all of that data. I'm just going to scroll back up, and then I'm going to hit insert. And from insert, I'm going to go to recommended charts, and it recommends me this chart here, which actually, if you look at it this way, is a line chart. And we're going to go ahead, and it gives you a little preview of what it's going to look like, and hit OK. And we've got our line chart here, and 4 different colors. We'll blow it up a little so we can get a better feel for what's going on here. And now looking at each of these quintiles, I'm going to click on these, and I'm going to actually do, actually, look at this. This is not right. This has got my years on it. So I'm going to right click here. If you're in the Mac, that would be control click. And for now, I'll just call that opposite click. I'm going to opposite click here, and I'm going to select data. And in here, you see I've got my 4 labels. That's good. But right here, these are just numerical labels. And click edit. I'm going to click this little button here, which is going to come out here. I'm going to click on year. Once again, shift, control, down arrow, and click back here. And notice how it brings in the years. And you'll see that here. And depending on what you're doing, let me get this a little bigger so I can actually read these. You can click on here and you can format this. The top, you can do rotate various different directions depending on which way you find it best. Stacked is weird looking, but I like horizontal. If you get big enough, it looks nice. It kind of skips a couple years, but I'm going to just do rotate, and then that's the one that it suggested at first, and that gives us a good feel for what's going on. So now we got the years. You can see the years, and this is the bottom quintile, second quintile, third quintile, and fourth quintile. And now I'm going to right click on this and add trend line, and here is a linear regression. So I'm going to do a linear regression. If you look here, you'll see a little dotted line start to appear. And I'm going to set equation and display the R. So let's zoom in here a little bit to what this equation is. Let me move it off of here. And actually, let me go back here and format trend line. Let's make the trend line a little easier to see. What I like to do is I like to make a nice red color. Make a red color here. And then I want to make a line like that. Maybe add the thickness a little. So now it's a little easier to see the trend line. That might be a little too thick for this particular line. Okay, so now you can see the trend is the red line, and the blue line is the actual data. And you can see here, and as you can see here, this is the y-intercept. So this is going to tell you where on year 0 where the income would be for this group, and for each year afterward you would add number of years times this value here, 287.93, and that will give you the approximate trend here, what this line is. And also notice here the r squared, which is explaining how well this line fits the data. It's pretty close. 95% is extremely close. So now I'm just going to go ahead and click each one of these and make a trend line. So I'm going to just go, I'll leave these ones not red, but I am going to get the equation for each one of them. Then I'm going to move it up a little so you can see it. And do another trend line. Click, 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 click. Click on this. When the crossbar is there, I can move it and click it up. And go down here. And click on it when the crossbar is there. Move it up. And so let's look at the difference between these. And as you can see, with each quintile, the number per year is growing. So at the bottom quintile, it's 287. Second quintile, 446. Third quintile, 603. And fourth quintile is 1,035. So as you go up here, you notice that the curve is steeper. So the larger this number, the steeper the curve. You also notice that each one of these explains the variance very well, but every one of these in 2013 is just slightly below what would be expected. So I'm going to view back to 100% here. Maybe zoom in a little more. I'm using the control key and then using my middle mouse button just to zoom out. Because what I want to do now is I want to add that fifth quintile. So the fifth quintile is, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 right there. Hold down the shift key, hold down the control key, click the down arrow, and then I'm going to hit Control C or Apple C or copy if you want to look at it that way. So I've copied it, and now I'm going to click on here. Notice that this is selected because it's got the circles around it, and I'm going to hit paste, and I'm going to paste the wrong one in there. So let me look at this again. That was average. Well, that's where the average is. See, the average is around the fourth quintile. Try this again. Copy. Click on here. Shows that it's selected. Hit paste, and notice what happens here. This line is much larger. It's much more volatile. Let me put it in the trend line. Actually, let me make this one red too. So I'm going to click this, make it red, make it thick. All right, you see big jumps up and down. This is when the recession hit. If you look down here, this is 2008. Slightly going back to where you would suspect, and then again in 2011 starts to go back down there. And so you can see now if you zoom in here, so I'm going to use the control and then my mouse button for 43.94 versus the previous one, 1,035. So you can see that's growing with each one. So there is that. I'm going to zoom back in here. And now you can see there's these last 4 percentiles. And on these percentiles, so you have the 91st to 95th, the 96th to 99th, and here we have the top percentile. So let's do 80. Let's just do the 81st to 90th percentile, 91st to 95th, But let's look at the top 1%. So I'm going to click on top 1%, Control Shift down arrow, copy, and then click on here. See everything is highlighted. Hit Control V or paste, however you like to do that. Now look how much this dwarfs the other data. So let me go ahead and format. Oops. Click on the line first, and then add the trend line. Go down here, set the equation r squared. Let's zoom in. I'm using Control key and using my middle mouse button. You could also use the zoom button here. So I'm going to click this and zoom fit selection. There you go. And you can see, let me click this, get the crosshairs, and zoom in a little. Okay, and now this one with the 90 percentile is 39, up from, oh, we can't even see the other one anymore. That's up from a lot. Let's zoom back out. Let me move over to the left. And that was the 1%. So you can see the difference between the 1% and everyone else pretty much dwarfs it into a part where you can't even read anything here. So that's how you can use linear regression to format things in Excel. Thanks.